Hello there YouTube, Eric McRae, Asparagus Party here. Moving into part 2 of my commentary on the One Piece chapter 1066 spoilers. But first, once again I want to just quickly remind that I found these spoilers through the Worst Gen forums, so that's my source I'm relying on here. Okay, let's get into this. The history given in this chapter is very, very important. So what we find out is that Vegapunk, along with Dragon, visited Ohara after the Buster Call bombardment of the island. And this is pretty big. The revelations include, one, that Jaguar D. Sol actually survived the event, and along with a detachment of other giants, went back to Elbaf, but not before retrieving various books of historical information that were apparently tossed into the lake at Ohara and survived the bombardment. That was brought with them to Elbaf, which means there is now a sort of jackpot of Void Century information right there at Elbaf, probably still preserved for to this day, which is incredibly important as a story element for the day where we'd expect the Straw Hats will go there, which there's been a lot of speculation to the potentially radical importance of this island. There's a lot of connection to various story elements of Usopp for Elbaf being a big island. Now there's connections made for Robin and for the general journey to find the One Piece. All these fingers are pointing to Elbaf, but there's more. For another element, we've had a lot of conjecture in the forums, especially noticed this in the Worst Gen forums, that Sol is kind of identified as a bandaged man. Now, we don't know exactly the nature of what his wounds looked like under the bandages, but there's been speculation that the character that Eustace Captain Kidd was speaking about, the man with the burn marks, might actually be Sol here, which would be an interesting element. It could tie Captain Kidd to Elbaf, and then a potential meeting with the Straw Hats and more story covering more elements of Captain Kidd at Elbaf. However, again, it's uncertain. This is more of speculation that is not 100% sure, so there's a lot of room to be disappointed in that, but it has been mentioned and it is an interesting thought. Apart from that, I think another important detail of this is that we see more development of the relationship between Vegapunk and Dragon. I'm not sure the details into their past and how much they foreknew each other, but we do see is that Dragon and Vegapunk sit and chat and share some discussion and conjecture for sort of what they're going to do from here on in. And it seems that Vegapunk was in a way offered by Dragon to enter his revolutionary army, and he might have in a way participated with them, but he decides overall in the past to work with the world government, not on the basis of exactly a loyalty to them or a fondness of what they've done, but more on a basis to at least take advantage of their material assets and resources for his own purposes and for his own goals. We see that Dragon is a little upset over the decision, but still respects it, and from what we can tell from their communicating in the previous chapter, Vegapunk and Dragon always maintained a positive attitude towards one another and some amount of a relationship, which now clarifies a lot. This explains why Rob Lucci and CP Aegis Zero is being sent to the island to assassinate Vegapunk. The obvious implication here is that in some way the world government learned about connections between Vegapunk and Revolutionary Dragon, with Dragon being the most wanted man in the world and a direct opponent to their agenda. We can assume that they perceived that a union of Vegapunk and Dragon would be the biggest threat of the age to them, and thus they sought to assassinate Vegapunk, and that's why that movement is now in the works. So this is a pretty loaded chapter. This clarifies a lot. This explains a lot of missing gaps. It sort of fills in the gaps, and yeah, I think overall I definitely enjoyed it. I expect that we'll continue to get more revelation in an increasingly rapid rate about the Void Century as the chapters progress. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you.